Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about comic books, costumes, facts, boots, and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Batman Damned.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the metaversal one.
I'm Batman.
Mr. Mike.
Hello, how are you?
We are doing Batman Damned today.
Batman Damned.
Batman Damned.
D-d.
With a D, yeah. This is another one that was a poll that we...
Oh, this won a poll.
This won a poll as well.
Oh, very
remember,
nice.
this was your Sergeant Rock got third.
Oh, that's right, my Sergeant Rock.
Batman Damned beat out Old Man Logan and also Hulk Gray. But we will return with more polls here shortly. I think that I'm going to find something for us to do next week.
Before this, we were singing the new Batman song, because they've come up with a new Batman song. I don't know if you're familiar with like the way that they've reorganized all the ABCs, where you have to sing that song differently now. Have you seen this?
No.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. That's how they do it. So you don't do L, M, N, O, P all together.
Oh, so you space it more instead of making it like one?
Yeah,
I've heard that before.
Nobody's going to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. So the new Batman song and I think it's, who's the guy that directed the one with shiny vampire in it? Matt Reeves?
Matt Reeves, yeah.
His new...
Battenbot?
Yeah, his new Batman theme. Batman's, what you gonna do? I think the, what do you call them? The Island Boys wrote it? Who is it? Who let the dogs out?
The Baja Man?
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were men, not boys.
Where are the Island Boys these days?
I have no
You remember them with their little stubs all over their head?
I remember.
Every interview they did was from a pool or something.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
I bet they're going to have a long career.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway.
Hey, Liquid Death.
Mike is on a roll today to start off. Batman Damned is a book by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo. It's kind of, it is, a follow-up to a book they did back in 2008 called Joker. That was, everybody really kind of likes the Joker book. We'll cover it maybe at one.
Is it like origin stuff or what?
It's not. No, the story is it's like Joker getting out of Arkham Asylum and coming back and realizing that a lot of his territory and that is gone now. Oh. And it's him initiating like a gang war against Two-Face.
So it's more like a mob story.
Kind of. It's different. There's a character, that Johnny Frost, that's like his...
Johnny Frost?
Yeah, that's like
I think he
working
was in
with
Gotham.
the Joker. It's a whole thing.
Wasn't he in Gotham, Johnny Frost?
I don't think so.
No, I mean like the TV show Gotham.
I don't know.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I only watched a season of Gotham.
I think he was. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'll have to just trust you.
Maybe I'm thinking about that local guy who fixes air conditioners, Johnny Frost.
Yeah. He's really big on the coolant.
Oh, he loves it. Loves the Freon.
That makes sense.
Problem is he gets high on his own supply, so
you can't do that. That's like rule number one.
No. Especially with that new Freon, so many chemicals.
compared to old Freon.
Right, old Freon. You were fine. You could squirt that in a baby's face; it'd be fine. This new stuff? No way.
No way.
Too
chemical.
Take their nose right off.
Anyway, there was the Joker story, and this is kind of 2018. It's kind of a follow-up to that.
Okay.
This is the book it's the first Black Label book that DC put out or released at the time when
After
they
Dark.
launched Black Label. I think other books were supposed to be first, but this is inevitably the one that ended up coming out first.
Okay.
It's known for one main reason, and
big reason, little reason.
a bat-sized reason. So, I guess we'll just go ahead and touch on that briefly first before we get into the rest of it, because we're going to focus on the story. And honestly, part of me, I get I don't understand and anyway, we'll get into it. So, Batman Damned, or actually, you know what? We'll save it till when we get to the panel in the book.
Yeah,
it's in the first issue.
That's probably best, because I do know a little bit about that.
It's in the first issue when we get there. But
you and I have talked about this before, right?
Maybe. I don't think on air, but maybe off air.
Okay. Yeah, I know off air, yeah.
Now, every single issue I think that's released now is obviously censored, but we'll talk about it when we get there. I will say that I got done reading this book, and I had to reread through it because it was something that I felt like I might have missed some things or I didn't follow it fully. So, it's an interesting story to tell. The art in this is just absolutely fantastic, and I just wanted to make sure that I was grasping it the best I could. I still might not be grasping it everything. So if there's something I'm missing, obviously, let us know down below. But I tried to at least go through, and in parts that I didn't understand fully, I went back and tried to find other people to at least explain it to me or talk to them a bit to try to get a better understanding for it. So we'll go ahead and kick off Batman Damned. And just know that this is kind of not in main continuity. Just to start off, this is away from everything else. It's in their own little kind of Joker universe that they made with the book. Exactly.
Kind of thing? Okay.
So that's the thing too. He
looks kind of badass right there.
He does on the cover. Our story starts with issue 1, and it's like a flat line from a little, what are they? The EKG machines.
Yeah.
And it's finally pulsing back online, and we see Batman's face as he kind of wakes up, and he's in the back of an ambulance.
Look at him. He's in bad shape.
He's in very bad shape, we see. We then see that there's an officer and EMT workers that are working there with him to try to revive him of of his wounds. And one of them's like, we got to get to his mask. And they're like, you want to be the one to take it off? They're kind of having that argument. And they go to cut it, and they don't pay too great attention to it, or they don't do it how they need to. And they kind of cut into him a little bit. But he's awake. Batman is fully now aware of what's going on. And he quickly, obviously, in panic, just kind of pushes the EMT worker away from him.
Oh, yeah.
Where the officer then pulls his gun on him and tells him, hey, we're on the same team. We're just trying to help you. And Batman, it seems like he's a little cagey. He's, when you get a animal who feels attacked and
sure.
they're back into a corner. That's kind of what he feels like here. And so when the gun's pulled on him, he dives through the cop and kind of
Batman's
knocks
like a raccoon.
Exactly. Batman is very much like a raccoon, at least in this scene.
Yeah. He eats out of the trash.
Yeah.
Gets cornered. He pushes you.
He doesn't dig in too much trash here, but the second one for sure.
Okay.
And as he knocks the officer out of the back of the ambulance, he kind of lands onto the street where everybody's kind of looking around to see.
It says woof.
It does say, yeah, that's when he lands, of them rolling on the ground. And so he's then he feels cornered still because everybody's walking up to him hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
And he honestly just kind of makes there's an animal noise that he makes at him to kind of scare him away. And the cop himself tells him get away from him, he's dangerous.
He's rabid.
Yeah, and he runs off into an alleyway to get away from somebody, but he's still just bleeding out really bad.
Just
he's
like a
in
raccoon.
A lot of pain.
Just like a raccoon.
Yeah, very well. Yeah. And so we then kind of see flashbacks to him falling, and it looks like we see a figure there falling off the bridge.
But this was after this is as he's injured here.
This is before. Yeah, he's
right, I'm saying he's just been injured because it looks like you can see blood on that top image.
This is he's just been injured as he's falling. He's falling off he's been, stabbed, and he's falling off the bridge. Yeah. And it shows him landing. And when he comes back up, he swims up out of the water, he notices two people kind of off on the shoreline, and it's his parents. And they're like, he's like, Mother?
They're not
Bruce,
really there.
We're here, son. You're doing just fine. You've got this. And he's like trying to like swim.
Yeah.
And there's hands that come out from the water underneath and kind of pull him back down as you see his glove kind of disappear in the water again. And he's like, it's like he's like coming in and out of consciousness.
Right,
almost this
right.
way.
He's
Feels
got
like.
a lot.
We've seen these.
He's got a lot going on.
There is. And he
There in
sees
his
somebody walking up.
Trash panda world.
And he sees somebody walking up in the alley. And we find out as it gets closer, it's a trench coat figured, and it's John Constantine.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he was in this.
Yeah, or as it says, your original unreliable narrator. And so he's going to be the one, he narrates most of the book here.
Constantine does?
Constantine does. So, that's
weird, right?
Not where we're going with this story. It's not.
Okay. All right.
So, as Batman's like reaching out, he's like, you're not Alfred? And he's like, no, I'm not. Because we see, I'm sorry. He's calling out because he called for Alfred before he kind of collapsed in that trash pile as he was running down the alley the first time before he saw his parents.
Mm-hmm, like a raccoon.
And he's coming back through. And so he thinks that maybe that's Alfred there to help him.
Right.
But no, then it's Constantine. And so he's like, you're not Constantine. And he's like, yeah, no, sir. Seems the butler took the night off. And every time it says night, it's night with a K-N-I-H-T.
I don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, because they're referring to him.
Right, I get it, but
to Batman.
It seems like too on the nose. I don't know much about John Constantine, other than it's kind of otherworldly stuff, and then the Keanu Reeves thing, of course. That's the only real reference I have for Constantine.
I have read. He's shown up in stories that I've read. I think he even showed up in. It was when we covered Dog Welder way early back in the day. He was one. He was
in Dog Welder.
Well, he was in one of the. Remember the superhero team he was a part of, with like the hero that was always drunk, and the one who just liked to jump through windows. Remember that superhero team?
Remember that. I do.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of him right offhand, but he like showed up in that story.
I love Dog Welder though. That was a good one.
I remember like Constantine from like showing up in other stuff more. So my knowledge is also very minimal. I haven't read a lot of like Hellblazer and stuff like that. So
he literally would weld a dog to your face, right?
Yeah, that was Dog Welder.
Okay,
and he was a hero.
Yeah,
so
it's a good guy.
But he kind of is able to, and this is where we're gonna have people just lash on me.
That's the funniest part of that.
Where he can kind of, he does deal with the more magic side of DC and
Constantine.
Kind of like the other world, like the spirits, the demons, all that kind of stuff.
I always felt like Constantine and Sandman needed to be kind of together.
I think
they do, don't they? Don't they do stuff together? If not,
so.
that's a missed opportunity.
I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh yeah, I don't know. So I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't know.
I'm gonna say they do, and I dare you to correct me.
Make sure that's Mike. Yeah. So we get a flashback again to like Bruce in his youth, and he's on one of those little, those things that used to spin around, but you would like get really dizzy or make him go really fast and try to hang on. Yeah. And that's essentially what Bruce is doing. He's being a normal kid here.
Those things are not a friend to kids with diarrhea. Just telling you.
Oh man, they're not a friend to kids in general, because I feel like a lot of kids just kind of fall off.
Yeah, this is from a time when there were no seatbelts and kids could stay out as long as they wanted to, as long as they were home by dinner, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
this is very much an old world. Jump on, spin till you throw up.
It's the metal that would get
your head
super
on the
like
thing. Yeah.
just hot as Hades.
Yeah,
during
around
the summers
here
that you would burn yourself on, but you would still play on them. Yeah.
Not great.
And so he's spinning and spinning. And as he's sitting there, he's like, "Mom, Dad, look at," and he sees his parents, and his dad's talking to another woman, and his mom is not too happy about that. And then we see this black and white text, and it just says, "Me, Bruce, look at me." And you see this little girl kind of off in the distance, and it scares Bruce. But he's like, "Who are you? Do you know who that is yet?"
No.
I'll wait a bit and I'll tell you. You are familiar with her in a way because you've seen a movie with her in it. And then it just says like, me, like, here, it's better if I try to read from my actual copy instead of reading from the screen that we're on there. There's a lot of characters in here that you'll have known of once we get to.
She's scary looking.
She's very scary looking.
She looks like the girl from The Ring.
Samara? Is that her name? Something like that?
Girl from The Ring.
But it says, I exist before and after all. I place, I times, I at once. I am desire and fear of desire. your secret, Bruce. Will you be mine? And about that time, it's just like, I can't hang. Like, he's scared, and he ends up letting go of the merry-go-round, and he awakes in a bedroom with all these like different symbols, and you can tell like it's Constantine's
It's
place.
like the Dark Knight suit he's got on too, right?
A little bit. Are you talking about from the Frank Miller one?
Yeah, because it's the gray and the black.
Well, I mean, Batman Noel's kind of, or is there yellow behind that? I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of black and gray.
To me, it feels reminiscent of the Dark Knight stuff, but I don't know much about comics. So.
No. So, as Batman wakes up and realizes that he's at Constantine's place, he hears, "You need a friend? Come from the other room." And Constantine's in there smoking, watching the TV.
Sure.
And so Batman walks in, and he's like, "Welcome back to the living with us." And Batman's like, "I know you." And he's like, "Yeah, I know you too. So we don't have to do these pleasantries kind of thing. Like, if you want to fill in some of the blanks of what's happening, just watch the TV. It's about to tell you." And we get a news report on there that says, there's a man dead, and it seems that a decade-long Gotham nightmare is over. Also, if you'll see kind of in the corner, you remember Dead Man?
Mm-hmm.
Boston Brand, that's who's kind of over there too. He'll play a role in this too.
Okay.
Usually, he's a guy that he can possess like living people and like kind of take over their body. In this world, though, well, I'll wait till we get there. But there's a bit that's a little bit different about him in this world. And
he's a big skeleton boy, right?
He's the skeleton. He was a skeleton in Kingdom Come.
Okay. All right.
Another Kingdom Come character coming up here soon too.
Sure.
And but they say that the decade-long Gotham nightmare is over. And as they flip it over, we see that Batman noticed, "I was on the bridge tonight." And Constantine's like, "Yeah, well then maybe that might prove a bit of a problem for us then." As you hear on the TV, "At long last, the man responsible for the more deaths in this city than old age is dead." And it shows the Joker's face there, like they've, pulled him out of the river from the bridge.
He's super dead.
Yeah, and he's like, "The Joker dead?" And he's like, "But who's responsible?" And Constantine's like, "You tell me, man. Like, you were up there. Like, what happened?"
You did it.
But Batman obviously has no memory of what happened on the bridge.
Sure.
So what he does, he's like, in typical Batman form, he leaves before Constantine was done talking to him.
Typical Batman form. He jumps off a building.
He jumps off a building and flies through, but he leaves like when Constantine wasn't paying attention. And he's like, "Ah, all right, there he went." And he kind of heads out into Gotham to figure out what happened to the Joker then.
He's a terrible house guest.
He very much is.
Yeah. Like, he didn't offer to do the dishes.
Nothing.
He didn't pick his clothes up off the floor.
Well, he was still clothed, but he didn't make the bed.
He probably drank some of his milk right out of the container.
I don't think Batman's an out of the
Batman
container
loves
guy.
milk.
Yeah, but not out of the container.
I think that's been proven. Right?
Sure.
Didn't he do an ad for the Dairy Council at one time?
Who hasn't everybody?
I guess so.
I'm sure he did. I feel like they would want.
Hi, I'm Batman. Drink your milk. It comes from cows.
Batman's gonna scare you into drinking.
My parents
milk.
are dead.
So we get more flashbacks
for milk.
We get more flashbacks to Bruce is leaning over. This is young Bruce is leaning over the bridge.
Yeah.
And he's spitting off of it, and we see Thomas Wayne.
Sorry.
Thomas Wayne talking to a woman that's not his wife. That's there.
Oh, Thomas Wayne.
And she's like, "Look, he's like, look, it's just not a good idea with my boy here.
Keep it in your pants, little Tommy Wayne."
And he's like, "Dad, I counted. It took 17 seconds for my spit to hit the water."
Oh, perfect.
And he's like, "Oh, cool, son, here." And he like flips him a penny. He's like, race it with the penny and see who gets there first. Then.
Nice job. Science.
And she's like, "Huh." And he's like, like you're going to have to deal with my kid being here. Like everywhere I go, he goes.
Sure.
Well, he goes to like throw the penny off, and it doesn't, like it lands down on the ledge below him.
Right.
So he like leans over the edge to bend down to grab it and loses his balance. And as he does, his dad like grabs to catch him, and he's like, "What? Are you trying to kill yourself? Like, what are you doing, Bruce? Like, come on, you can't do that."
Freaking young Bruce.
And he saves him. We get back to Batman, I guess our present day in our story.
Yeah. Batman.
And Batman is back on the bridge. And he's looking down at the cops, and they're kind of, looking around the scene. The one that's in the body bag there, spoiler alert, I guess. Well, never mind. I don't have to say who it is. If you know, you know. So, but while they're there, the cops are interviewing this, like, kind of homeless man, it seems like,
Yeah.
about like what happened. And he's like, it was a monster.
He looks like
I'm
Jeffrey
telling you.
Epstein.
Huh?
So he looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
But he's like, I'm telling you, like, it was a monster out there who did this to him. It's like he says, a devil who fell from heaven. Like, he's just kind of rambling on and on about this. And so Commissioner Gordon's like, like, just kind of like with him, like, yeah, I get it. He's still hearing him out, but
Yeah.
he doesn't know. He feels like it's just kind of the ramblings
he
of
gets
a man
a lot
at
of
this
that.
point.
Yeah.
And so,
Plus, he's got to go smoke his pipe.
yeah, exactly. He
Pack your
tells him-
pipe.
He tells him that the devil's here in Gotham City, and he just tells him amen to that as he turns and just kind of walks away. And
Just
as
like
he goes
Batman.
back
He
to
just
his
leaves
car,
right in the middle of
he
a sentence.
does, yeah.
He's like,
And
yep, I
Commissioner
got you.
Gordon
Bye.
just walks back to his car and he lights his pipe.
Yeah.
And as he gets there, I never noticed it in that panel up there to the top left. But the guy has kind of come back. I'm not giving you all the narration and all this too, which would explain a lot of kind of the like religious undertones or like the bigger play here. I'm trying to tell the story, explain it the best way I can to you. I'm saying this because you can go back and read this book afterwards still and still enjoy it the same way. Like, that's what I try to do, is try to explain the best I can for us to talk about it, but still there's more to it if you want to dive into it.
Sure.
But the guy who was just giving him a statement kind of like, I don't want to say charges that, but like he does. He looks almost like grabbing Gordon. And he's like, you know, what you see, you deny. Like delusions, the skin, I see way beyond. I see the calluses that cover your eyes. I saw murder, Commissioner Gordon. Why don't you believe me? This is a character that you know, Mike.
Who is this?
I'm going to wait till a little bit
Bagman.
later. Huh?
Bagman.
It's the Spectre.
Oh, Spectre.
Do you remember Spectre from Kingdom Come?
Yeah,
Who kind of, he can watch and he can judge. Yeah. And he's telling them, like, I saw something.
But Gordon's seeing him as just nut.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I noticed it more there in the hood because he looks kind of like the
Yeah.
gray-skinned, green-hooded. Like, they kind of make, Bermejo's art is fantastic throughout this whole thing. And it's just, they make a more realistic, human-like kind of Spectre looking. He's very less comic book form.
Right.
And he's like, why don't you believe me? And Commissioner Gordon just tells him, because I believe him. And he kind of like looks up in the corner of his eye, and Spectre takes off running, and Batman is chasing after him. Because obviously Batman's like, hey, this guy knows what's happened then. Maybe he can tell me.
Spectre.
Yeah.
Get back here.
Maybe he can tell me what's going on.
I'm Batman. Come here.
And so as he's chasing him down, like he's trying to get closer and get after him, but he's unable to catch this, you know, homeless man as he's getting away.
Unhoused.
Huh?
Unhoused.
Unhoused.
Thank you very much.
And so to see what all information he has besides just, it's the devil came from heaven. Like he wants to know everything he can to try to figure out what exactly happened to Joker. So he chases him through the city off into like a train tunnel. And as he like goes into the train tunnel, can you see it? It took me, I didn't notice it till the second time. You can kind of see the face there.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Of
now that you
smoke
said it, I can
through,
see it, yeah.
And it just says, I know what you did, is what it says.
Well, the face looks like the Joker, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Or I don't think it's supposed to be.
Well, I don't know.
Face there.
The mouth seems to kind of go up.
And a grim
you
man.
know, like that.
And it does say, I know what you did.
Yeah.
Batman, unable then to catch the guy to get more information, is still trying to piece together what the heck happened tonight, right? Like,
Sure.
Joker's dead. I can't get any leads. He's trying to figure out what's all happened.
Why be stabbed?
Exactly.
Why
but
be
then,
stabbed?
well, here's the thing. When he awoke I didn't cover this, when he woke up in Constantine's room, all healed.
He wasn't stabbed
And
anymore.
he wasn't stabbed anymore. Did you
Okay.
notice that? No
No.
blood, nothing. So he gets out of the Batcave.
I'm so much better.
He gets out of the
It doesn't
Batcave.
hurt anymore.
And as he walks in, he's like, he tells like the Bat computers to scan him.
Bat computers.
I don't know what else to call them, but he tells them to run a body scan, and it scans and it tells them complete, like heart rate 126/86, weight 273 pounds, no new contusions and he's like, rescan for recent wounds or scar tissue. He's like, I was just stabbed.
Yeah, because he's like,
Why
I
is
just
it
got
not finding
stabbed, you
anything?
dumb computer.
And so it says expected blood vessel trauma at joints, bruising on back and right thigh, swelling in right labrum, 0.20% greater than, and he like cuts it off again. And he's like, Any evidence of multiple fatal stab wounds? Negative. And like throws him off as he's sitting there, and this is where we get the big controversial scene.
Okay.
That is not anything to me.
Okay, let's see it.
It's him while he's doing this, like he's stripping down out of the bat suit as he is.
I'm naked, Batman.
As he's like getting out of the bat cave. But it's like, I feel like there's a reason for it.
Okay. Why?
In a sense.
What's the reason?
I think it's gonna it's gonna show his vulnerability here in a second.
Oh, it's gonna show.
But
more
also,
now, but yeah.
well, no, I mean it already did. It was
Oh,
right
it did?
there.
It's there?
No, you can't see it. They've
I
already
didn't
edited
see it.
They've edited it out.
Oh,
here.
this one's blurred out.
Well, they all are. Let's get into that a bit.
Was it a big chunky thing or what? To begin with?
I'm just gonna text you a picture, Mike.
Oh,
I have the original and the censored, so you can
Batman
see both
After
of them.
Dark.
But so what happened was, as I'll get into the story behind some of the controversy of this.
Okay, I'm looking.
So
it's definitely there.
Lee Bermejo, I listened to an interview that he had on the Bat Force podcast.
It's about like it's not big. It's about like this.
Well, maybe Batman's a grower.
I'm not Superman.
So,
I'm just Batman.
I can't believe I said that on this show. So that is what it is.
He would definitely be a grower.
Lee Bermejo.
Right?
We're not gonna. Are we gonna have a conversation?
Well, I'm just saying, like Batman. You know, he's undercover, right? He's in a lot of action.
Yeah.
He probably takes a lot of ibuprofen or something.
So Lee Bermejo in an interview.
It'll cause shrinkage.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man.
Woohoo! It's cold in this
That's
hotel.
the thing. That is one of the things I loved is that listening to Lee Bermejo's, the artist for this, like tell the story. He goes, like the fact that when I go to conventions, and he goes, and you can just tell from like a ways away of like what they're gonna come talk to you about. And he was like, and they'll come in and they'll make a joke like, it must be cold in the Batcave. And he was like, and they always act like it's the first time I've heard that
I just
joke.
don't understand the point in it to begin with.
Well, I don't think.
Why
don't
you got to
know.
draw the
Why
bat
is
wiener?
there a point in it in Game of Thrones? Like why?
Well,
it's
a little different.
I don't think so.
It has a rating on it.
This one did too. This
Did
was
it?
for mature audiences.
Okay. They're not selling this to kids. You're
No,
saying.
that's here. So here's the deal. Let's
You're
talk
saying
about
they
this.
kept it behind the counter with copies of Jugs.
I don't. That is up to each. That's up to the comic book places.
Okay.
But DC did mark this as mature audience. Like that's
Okay.
what Black
All
Label
right.
was supposed to be. They were rebranding it. They were. Let's get into the story of this. At least as far as I know.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers was going through a merger with AT&T at the time. And
Wonderful
what was
pairing,
it?
by the way. Wonderful.
Maybe it was I don't remember who it was, but I think
Whatever.
Warner Brothers at the time. So while all this was going on, I think there was a time like they were launching multiple titles, or multiple like groupings or categories of new books, and one was like directed towards young readers.
Sure.
One was directed towards teens,
Mhm.
and then they had Black Label.
Mhm.
While they didn't come out and say it, it was assumed to be directed towards
Well,
adults.
yeah, it's got wieners in it.
Well, but still, like I'm pretty like when it's sold, it says like for mature audiences on the cover of the book too. Here's
Does
the thing.
anybody need to see it though?
Well, does anybody? Well, what's the difference with like female nudity then? Does
Well,
anybody
there's
need
not.
to see that either?
I don't think they need to see that either. Yeah.
But I mean,
But I'm just saying, in this particular instance, why would you need?
Okay,
it's not.
so-
It's not a plot device.
well, so here's the thing. So he's walking through. Let me finish.
I
This
mean, I
thing
know
before
for
we get into
me,
it.
I would show it to everybody, but
So,
for him,
but he's walking through, and the computer says negative, that there were no stab wounds, and so. Maybe I should wait to the end to tell you this.
I'm sorry. Go.
Negative, and he's
You're
like
good.
negative, and the computer goes affirmative, and Bruce tells him bullshit, like I've been stabbed, and so he's like computer
Bullshit,
standing
I'm
by,
Batman.
and he's like tell me about the deaths that happened on the Gotham Bridge tonight,
Mm.
and the computer says like John Doe found on bridge, current location Gotham Moor, John Doe retrieved from river, current location unknown, because there were two bodies on the bridge.
Oh, wow.
The one that we saw covered. And the one, remember that we saw that had fallen and was under.
Yeah,
he
we
saw
saw it,
the
yeah.
one on the bridge, which means where's Joker's body then?
Right. Sure.
And he's like, unknown, like elaborate. And the computer says searching, no further information. And he's like, no, a body just doesn't disappear. Like he's trying to piece it together. I'm sorry. as he's like walking through, searching
Well,
like
there's
his hall.
Batman's butt too.
Yeah, well, he's naked.
Bad
So,
butt.
as he's walking through,
Stop looking at my bad butt.
no, as he's walking through the line of suits there, he's like, check again. Like when it says
Yeah.
you can't find anything, he tells
Sure.
it to check again. And it's black and white, the bubble again, so it's somebody different. It goes, maybe check your head. And about that time, it's like one of the back suits comes alive.
Comes alive, yeah.
And like reaches out to him, and like Bruce
I
cowers.
do kind of like how the cowl, the opening there becomes kind of that
dude,
scary
Bermejo's
mouth.
art is fantastic.
Yeah,
for all
very
this.
good.
And he's like confused, and he like cowers. He's afraid of what's happening as he's now just sitting there cowered in front of the bat suit, just like
now he's in a John Connor, right?
is that from Terminator?
Yeah.
But like it's him just like completely like we see a broken
That is a badass looking Batman. Though.
It is a
I'm
badass
telling
looking
you right
Batman,
now.
but it's Batman there and a cowering Bruce Wayne.
That Batman's kicking your ass.
I know, but like I think that is a very like just
Yeah, it's
powerful
cool.
scene in a way.
Yeah.
And so like that's why I see like
Well,
why
that goes
I get
into
it there.
psyche, like you know, he's
what
powerless.
it's showing you is why he's naked. Is it's not necessarily about the nudity as much as it's him stripped from
I
everything
get it.
else.
But he's powerless against this monster he's created.
Exactly.
basically.
in a way.
Yeah.
And so that's why like I
So I
understand.
can make points too, Zach.
I understand like why it was there then. Like,
Yeah.
But so back to what the big deal with it was then.
Sure.
And so
I can
this
tell you what
comes
the big deal
out.
it was.
This comes out the first day it's released, and it even like editing had to know of it. Like listening to this interview with
Sure.
Bermejo, because when they released it, the digital version was always censored. Because the thought was anybody can access it. There's
Yeah.
no like stop
Yeah,
from
yeah,
getting
yeah.
ready to
Sure,
buy it online.
sure.
But the hard printed issues,
Hard is a weird word to use, but
the physical printed issues were unedited and were sent out then with the thought of the comic book stores could kind of, that is, if you market, here's the thing, if you market as mature
Sure.
and you send it out to them like that, I think it's up to the shops then after you
I
do
take it for what it is, but I still have one question. I mean, why did it have to be a pop-up book?
a pop-up.
You open it up and it's just like Batman.
I don't remember
What
that one.
the kids? Get out of the room. Batman's here.
Yeah, but like it causes waves in a way of where it's like
Sure.
it makes it to like Stephen Colbert makes fun of it and stuff
Oh,
like that,
wow.
right? And Lee Bermejo makes
Little
the
Stevie
point.
Colbert.
Yeah. So like one of the sales guys it was either DC or Warner Brothers, he tells him like calls him and he's like, the last time we had a book that made it like, that big, it was probably
Yeah.
like Death of Superman.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're laughing about it because of what it is, but it's getting you
It is what it is. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
The first print that they had sold out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like no matter what it's for, like that's what you would think. He tells the story of like even I guess like a couple weeks before, I think at like some DC event that he went to, he was talking to some of the guys who like worked on the statues, and they talk about another scene in the first like at the end of the scene of we could have made a statue out of that, but there's no way we could have got that made, and they like laughed it off. Nobody said anything about the dick. Because he was always under the assumption what he was told the directive they were given was it's Batman but on HBO. So
Green Lanterns.
push it what you want
If
to.
it was Green Lantern's wiener, it wouldn't have made any waves
No,
whatsoever.
but that's because it's Green Lantern. It's because it's Batman.
Little green.
It's probably
little
because
greenie.
people just don't want to think about.
Little greenie.
Yeah,
Right.
people don't. I think it's
Little sprout.
I don't think it's green.
I think it's green.
I don't think so.
Well, he has a little pouch for it, a little green pouch. That's part of his suit.
Now I'm thinking of Green Lantern's suit. And
It's
I'm
kind of like
pretty
you
sure
having
it's
we.
I'm not spending any more time.
We
on
did
that.
we did a lot of drag shows.
Yeah.
Right, as a company, like when we were doing live events and stuff, and I learned all about the special underwear they have to wear to tuck things.
Yeah,
and so
you
that's
think
what
that
I'm
Green
assuming
Lantern has
Batman
that?
would. Well, I think Green Lantern has one of those, yes.
Yeah.
But I think all of them probably have some form of that, because if you don't, there's no protection. I mean,
So do you think they're wearing cups out there?
I think Batman
I
ought
feel
to
like
wear a cup.
Batman's is kind of like guarded. Like you see
Yeah.
the well,
Kevlar.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's probably what it just the suit's just kind of.
Put your balls in this Kevlar cup. Yeah.
But so but it made such big news, and they were going through this merger. Let's get back to that. I think the story was that they didn't pick up on it as much. Like it was darker in the proofs, And then when they printed it, it was lighter, and then
Yeah,
you could
whatever.
see it more.
That's bullshit.
But it was really kind of like they,
So I could have put anything in the darkness.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying, and they
Yeah,
would have been
and
like,
it would've-
"Oh, it's fine."
But they didn't really
until
like
it shows up.
Instead of just being like, yeah, you know what? Hey, our bad. We drew Batman's.
Let me
name.
tell
We'll
you
change it."
this: if they had put 6 swastikas there instead of a little wiener, they probably would have caught that.
Well, yeah, for sure. But it gets something very interesting though. What we're going to get to when he tells the story,
All right.
because then he talks about how. Like, so all the reprints from there on, like, it's been censored ever since. It's just the first run where it's there.
Yeah.
And I think there's even a point where they, like, all the remaining copies they had that they hadn't sent out, they pulped or something like that. They essentially, like, ET'd them, destroyed them all.
Sure.
And I think, like, an editor was fired. Like, it was a big deal.
Wow.
Like, a lot of shakeups and stuff over this. He talked about in the second issue got delayed because then they went back and they made him change things in the second issue.
Yeah. Like,
And
you're not
then
doing
it
that again,
was-
buddy. You
but
get
then,
one.
yeah, no. Then there was nothing else. Like, it
Yeah, you
delayed
get
it because of they had to check and double check everything. All of this. He talked about how there's a scene in the second in the second book of the series that got changed, but that everything else, like for the most part, it was just him having to redraw. Don't make it look like this. Make it look like that. But he also says that. What was it? Oh, that anytime that he showed gratuitous violence, though, no notes back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're never going to say
It was
anything
like
about that.
he was like anything. Just
And that's
a tad
okay
bit,
for like the kids.
exactly
books.
everything
Yeah.
just a tad bit sexual. Oh, they had notes about
Yeah,
everything. He
yeah.
was like, I can draw a guy getting shot head on in the face, and I show it to show you that. Not a peep.
Well,
Which
like
is
I
very
said,
interesting to see too.
You know, like I said, my dad took me to see Shining in the theaters, and the only thing he covered my eyes for was the old lady getting out of the bathtub.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that there's rivers of blood and chopped up twins.
Yeah,
no
no,
big
that's
deal. Yeah.
We then see that Batman is now on the street
American way.
as his alter ego. I think it's Patches Malone, one of the two.
Okay.
I think it's Matches.
Patches.
But as he's sitting there and he's just like trying to blend in with everybody, and he sees this street
Who's the guy
performer.
in the top hat?
It's a girl.
Okay.
You know, it's Zatanna.
Okay.
But
I knew
she's
we'd
doing-
seen that character before. I just
Yeah.
didn't know who it was.
And so she's doing just like street magic, like,
Yeah.
and she's just like, "Hey, magic's whatever you want it to believe. Is the card here? Is
Sure,
you know?"
sure.
And she's just kind of doing all
Three-card
that
Monty.
as Batman is sitting there, just kind of watching, still trying to figure out what's happened to Joker.
Uh-huh.
And while he's sitting there watching Zatanna, Deadman comes in and possesses a guy that's there, and he's like, "Nice disguise," and he's like, "Oh, I'm about to," and very quickly he's like, pushed out of the living guy's body. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is in this universe he can possess people,
Okay.
but very quickly he's kind of like expelled from them, and if they feel like they've had like food sickness, basically.
Like food poisoning?
Yeah, but he can just like he can inhabit somebody for a little bit to talk until the
Okay.
host finally like knows what's going on, like pushes him out.
Oh, okay.
So as he like pushes him out, he quickly goes
Like a
into
baby
the next
or-
person next to him,
Like a baby or Taco Bell.
kind of,
Yeah.
and he then possesses the
she
woman
looks
next
rough.
to him. Yeah, like when he possesses her, you can kind of tell.
This
Like
is-
he makes it look like
Well, it
that.
feels like an Evil Dead comic almost, when
With
they,
it,
yeah,
no,
when
this
he
is
goes
supposed to
into
be
them.
like
Yeah, it's pretty good.
a horror comic.
Yeah, I like
anyway.
it.
And he's like, much better. Now I was saying, and he leans down to Batman, even though he's like in his attire, and he goes, "There's a conspiracy against you. Dark forces, man. And if you don't," and while he's talking, like Batman's still watching Zatanna back there,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "See, and he like is expelled again. And the quickest body like he can find to get into is the dog that's nearby. And obviously that doesn't help at all because all he does is bark then to finish what he's saying.
Sure.
And Batman honestly just growls back at him as the dog runs away. So he walks up to Zatanna after she's done, and he's like, "Excuse me, can you help me?" And she's like, "Sorry, not today. City mission's down the block." And he's like, "Actually, I was looking for a buddy of mine. Probably been there more than once. Worried about, I got to find him. Wearing green. He's pale, sick." And the woman goes, "Crazy?" And about that time, she goes, "This your friend?" and holds up a card of the Joker.
Rudy Giuliani.
We then get a flashback to Bruce back at Wayne Manor as he's sitting there and kind of contemplating. And we get a scene where it's taking him kind of back to his childhood as he's scared there in his house. And he notices in the corner again that little girl has appeared.
Oh yeah.
And like while this is going on, his parents are arguing in the other room, and he's just so upset and afraid of this. Yeah, and he's frightened by that when the little girl appears.
No, I mean she's frightening. The little girl is scary as hell.
And she is. And he's like, "No, true, Bruce. You want. I know you want." And she like sneaks there, and he's like, or she goes, "I know. Don't be afraid, ever, never again." And he's kind of like, "I'm not afraid," but obviously he is. And she goes, "Should be. I be of you to me." That's the way she kind of talks.
Yeah, sure.
And he's like very wide-eyed, and he's like, "Afraid of me?" And she goes, "Price high, tears, your tears." And she holds a bat up to his chest, and she goes, "Will you cry for me?"
Is this the girl from one of the DC movies that gets all the gods in her or whatever it is, the thing?
Enchantress?
Well, that was the first Suicide Squad, right? Yeah, okay.
This
all
is
right.
Enchantress.
Hey, you proud of me?
Yeah,
that's
I'm
good,
very
right?
proud of you.
Yeah, that's good.
And so she holds the bat up to his chest. And we're almost done here with the first issue.
Yeah, you're good.
And so as the bat kind of like the red eyes, and we see it like, it cuts to Batman like waking back up, like, no, back in Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
So he's like having these things. And about that time, the TV says, "Word of a kidnapping that unfortunately can mean only one thing." And Batman is now in his bat suit, and he's come to a church. And we see Constantine as he's like, "Your nightmare, Gotham, continues. For a minister, a rabbi, and a priest were simultaneously abducted just minutes ago. Ah, you heard that one? Feel the connection slither up your spine and run down your leg? Then you're not alone. That crime can only be the work of one man." And about that time, Batman busts in, and he's like, "So, a bat walks into a church, and Constantine's already there, waiting as he walks up." And he's like, "Is that supposed to be funny, Constantine?" And he's like, "Funny? Heavens, no. Joker's dead. Or he isn't. Do you believe in an afterlife?"
Is that Jesus dressed
And
like a Joker?
And Batman looks at him, and then Constantine just says, "Moot question, I suppose. For obviously, it believes in you."
Oh,
and
yeah.
it shows,
There it is.
it's the statue of like crucifixion, all painted with ha 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 ha's all around it, and Joker makeup on the statue of Christ. Like, that's the thing he was talking about. He was like, "Oh, we can make a statue of that, but there's no way we could get it made." Obviously not. But so they're talking about that and not bringing up the other thing because nobody thought it would be a big deal.
Well, you don't see Joker Jesus's penis.
No, you don't.
Well,
but that is where go ahead and we will take our first break, as that gets us to issue 2 of Batman Damned, and we will come back and close out with issues 2 and 3 right after this here on Bros, Foes, and Heroes. Welcome back into Bros, Foes, and Heroes as we pick back up and finish out Batman Damned, as we just see that apparently it seems like somebody is coming after Batman from the afterlife, but it also seems like
Speaking
Mike
of damned,
is,
I broke my damn microphone stand. Look at this. It's
took
all loose.
We took a little break.
Loose break.
And we come back, and I just hear Mike go, "Oh, I hulked the shit out of that."
I don't know whether to
Oh, man.
I don't know what to do with it now. Like,
I guess just hold it.
it's like a
that.
job interview or something. I don't know what to do with my hands.
You kind of feel like it's like the old school, like you look like an old school crooner in a way. Like, you know, they'd probably hold the mic while they sang.
Hey,
all
baby.
the kids love a good like Perry Como reference.
Show
Or,
me your bloomers. Yeah, stuff like that, right?
I was going to say Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby. The kids love Bing Crosby.
Yeah, nobody. White Christmas, guys.
Yeah. Wait. Who was it that did the
Holiday Inn? No, Holiday Inn.
Who-
I mean, he sang White Christmas.
Who was it that did the stuff in? Are you talking Danny Kaye?
I mean, Danny Kaye's in it too, but Bing Crosby's in one of them with him. Is it Holiday Inn?
I don't
Or is
know.
it White? Or maybe it's White. No, it's White Christmas.
I don't know.
White
It's
Christmas.
one of them. Yeah. I
This has been 30s and 40s movies with Zach.
enjoy
Mike.
everybody.
Movies that are almost. Oh, dude, almost. I mean, 100 years old, but
Movies that are almost 100. Wow.
wow.
Holy crap. Yeah, you could
like,
come
I'm
up
nowhere
with
near
100.
that age, but still talking about like just thinking of media being around that long. But you have to think like we covered. Oh, here I'll a little break behind the fourth wall. But to me, it's a big day comic book wise. unless I have my date off, and I might need to double check it. But I think today is the day on August 8th that Fantastic Four #1 was like released out on newsstands.
Really?
Back in 1961.
Huh.
But you have to think that that's like 24.
Well,
I mean, like we're talking about almost 70 plus years around for that too.
Gone
like,
with
this
the
stuff's been
Wind
around
was
for-
like 1923 or something.
No.
Yeah,
We didn't have, it
wasn't it?
wasn't 23. It's like 30. It's like Great Depression.
That's what I said.
29.
Yeah.
You said 23.
Oh, okay. I meant 32. I don't
this
know
is
when
great.
it was.
I'm sure everybody loves me looking stuff on my phone.
But I'm saying Gone with the
Anyway.
Wind's pretty damn old, right?
Yeah, 1930s. No, the movie's 1939.
Okay, what about Birth of a Nation? When did that come out?
That was earlier. Or are you trying to figure out what the first film is?
No, I know. I kind of got an idea on the first film. I'm just trying to figure out what's 100 years old.
1915.
Oh, see, that's well over 100 then.
Yeah, it's also a racist piece.
Oh,
of
it's
shit,
very racist, yeah.
but,
You ever seen Johnny
So-
Comes Marching Home?
no. I have no. I love how you asked me a question and then took a drink right after it. Or was there more to
Well, I was
it?
waiting for you to say no.
Oh, no. Let me stew in that.
Oh, no, I broke my drink. Johnny Comes Marching Home is about a guy who comes back from World War I, and he can't speak, he can't hear, he has no limbs. And so he just, like, lays on this slab while people just, like, try to care for him and stuff, and he's just having all – you're in his head the whole time. He's, like, screaming and all this stuff.
Or is it like Jacob? That sounds kind of like. Oh no, I'm getting confused with Jacob's
It is
Ladder. I don't know. what
It
that
is rough, man. It's no. This is like it's black and white,
Oh, okay.
and it's very old, but it's actually Metallica wrote a song about it. Yeah.
Shooting
Anyway.
star. The more you know.
Anyway, yeah.
Back to Batman Damned, because we do have a habit of, I feel like, just rambling more in the second half of these things. Where we pick back up where we continue the
Well,
theme.
I think people need to understand, right? I mean, we're doing this in two halves
Yeah.
because we're so busy around here that we're
is true.
trying to make it
The good
fit.
news is you can tell us at least the same day because we have on the
That's
same
true.
clothes.
Yeah, it's just later.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
at different times. We record the first half, and that might be why sometimes Mike doesn't remember. We don't always do that. Sometimes
could
we
also-
get to sit and record all the way through.
Could also be that I'm old and I just don't
I
remember
was
it.
trying to give you a better
Yeah, I
example.
appreciate that.
But,
Okay.
so we pick
Let's-
back up with the
let's
same
get the race
thing
card doing here.
that we started issue 1 with
Okay.
the EK, like the pulse on the
Yeah.
EKG machine.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that is a cool little picture of the
Is it
back.
like-
Kind of like Enchantress held it up to its chest.
Oh, it's like
and-
stitched to his chest, huh?
yeah.
Oh,
it's a
that's
really
kind of
cool
cool.
looking
Yeah, I
little
like
panel.
that.
It's probably right here. It's covering
what-
my finger right now.
That's what I want is a dead bat stitched.
The
to
art
me.
in this, like I will keep saying throughout the whole thing, is just really good.
That's
like,
beautiful.
I also listened to Lee Bermejo say that when you were starting on this, they were working on regular, because Black Label books are a little bit bigger and it's a different
Sure.
quality of paper.
Sure.
That he was working on normal size, and they went back to him and they're like, "Hey, we want to make it this." But he had no problem like redrawing what he already did because he was excited about being able to.
How much are these
expand
things?
stuff.
Like how much are they? I'm
They're a
assuming
little bit
they're-
more expensive. I think now, probably like $7.99
Oh, wow.
issue.
Whoa.
Maybe
Okay.
I'm off. Maybe it's like $8.99, or it could be cheaper.
Okay.
No. I could be wrong. That might be some, but I know there was a new Zatanna book.
You could have just stuck with $7.99
Was
and I would have been
$5.99.
okay.
So
Oh,
in
really?
between there. So like.
Is it according to who the character is? Like the popularity of the character?
Sometimes
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know for sure. I'm not gonna lie and say that. No, I think they're probably all around like $6. But it's more than like or $6-7. It's about $2 more than a regular comic. Which
Sure.
is still about $4 or $5. So
Sure.
or maybe they. I don't get. I'm not gonna go on a rant. So well, it's not a rant. It's just I like complete stories,
Mm-hmm.
but I do understand like the excitement of going and getting like the next issue when it comes out. Like I
Mhm.
get that. I did that with Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Sure.
And I really love the story. So when that came out each month, well, actually it was like bi-monthly, but I
Right.
did look forward to it. So I understand the
Yeah.
anticipation it builds. But a lot of times I also like to sit down and read a story in its entirety.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if I hear like, oh man,
Wait for like a
like
graphic
this run's
novel
really
or something.
good, I'll wait for them to like release volume
Yeah,
1
sure,
and go get the
sure.
trade paperback. So I don't know where I feel about single issues. Not that I obviously enjoy finding the old ones and stuff. But anyway, back to our
Well, it's
story
like
here.
it's like Dark Knight Returns. I remember when that came out, like in the
the 4 parts, I believe,
yeah,
right?
but it came out in the graphic novel, where they just took them all and put them
and
together.
put them together.
I love that because I was able to just get through the whole thing.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about something real quick that I did want to actually. I can't believe I do like this. Some people might not, but I personally do. DC is doing this thing that they're releasing this year. I think they started back in June, and they're releasing some new titles now. But they're releasing them as compact comics. And essentially what it is it's book size. Oh, as I hit that, I'm sure that sounded great on Mike.
Oh, that's all right.
This is my copy that I picked up from
bookstore
the other day.
That is a weird size.
It's a book, like just regular book size.
Yeah.
But it's all 12 issues of the All-Star Superman run.
It looks like if the Hardy Boys were Superman or something is what it looks like on the front.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But the thing that I love about this too is because it's like a compact book size, as you can kind of see, like it's the whole comic just kind of shrunken down.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. I think that's really cool.
Everyone $10 too.
Huh.
Which if I bought this in regular, because I looked, if I bought this in regular graphic novel, $30, $25.
You had to go to $10 too?
No.
Oh.
What do you mean?
You said $10 too.
Oh, this is just ha ha ha. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
No, that was Mike.
Really,
I usually like.
I'm sorry, it's very bad.
That was a bad one. This is a book
Every
that
once
I
in a while,
do
a
want
dad
us
joke's
to
gonna leak its way in there.
But this is a book that I do want us to cover.
That is cool.
At some point in time, because I believe that this is what. Not
you think that's what Gunn is.
Oh, I know. Like they had him do like a reading list of things. Like, hey, if you want to get an idea for how the characters are going to be, you should read these.
Oh, really?
All-Star Superman is the book given for, and it's in like the sets that it's come out with. I'm pretty sure there might be more in there too. But All-Star Superman is one of that's given. It's the Grant Morrison book that he did.
I would love to have that list.
I'll find it. Well, I can tell you the Booster Gold that we covered is the Booster Gold they're using.
Yeah.
The Supergirl that I have is Tom King's Supergirl that we're
But like, is he saying read this storyline or just here's the character you need to be familiar with?
I think he's saying like a little bit of both. Like read this, because I don't think they're going to go obviously like this is exactly what we're doing.
Well, I wouldn't imagine your everyday comic person.
I know for sure. I mean, well.
I wouldn't imagine your everyday comic person even really knows Booster Gold. You know, like if you're going to the movie to see him, you're not thinking Booster Gold.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a series, but I'm just saying.
Right,
like,
but you understand what I'm saying. Like,
no, I can find it.
They're going to have to tell you who that is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is they're going to get.
I'm assuming that's why they're doing the series, right? Because they're going to go over his whole.
And the thing that he's doing too, I don't know if we've talked about it, is the idea that they have is that these characters are going to be voice crack. These characters are going to be like through each form of media. So they're going to be in series, and they're going to be in like animation, and they're going to be in live action.
Yeah.
Not that like Superman's
it's a whole world.
Not saying that like Superman's going to show up on HBO Max, but it's just in the HBO Max Booster Gold series, but it is saying that if maybe they do like he appears animated wise, that the actor who plays him in live action will voice him in the, animated stuff.
I'm really hoping that
like they're really trying to connect it all together. So this
really
could be
hoping
really
that
good, or it could be I don't know.
I'm hoping that the Booster Gold thing, being a TV series, I'm assuming it's an HBO or Max
an HBO
or
Max
whatever.
Series one of the
are those different?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
They confuse me. But also like there's doing a Lantern series about the Green Lanterns, but they're keeping it more like Earth-based, like even though they deal with stuff, which I think is a good idea.
What's the deal with the squirrel?
I don't know yet. I mean, it could be one of the Green Lanterns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Isn't there a squirrel Green Lantern?
Yeah, I can't remember its name. I don't know a lot about Green Lanterns.
Oh, thank God.
I'm going to be completely honest with you there, too. I know of them, and I kind of have a general idea.
Yeah.
I
think
Hal
you know
Jordan,
my
Stewart.
feeling on Green Lantern.
A lot of people, Guy Gardner, I feel like it ranks on the bottom. Some people like Kyle Rayner. Like I know the Green Lanterns.
And Guy Gardner's the one that
Nathan Fillion's
going to be.
I thought about covering Guy Gardner at some point before we get to the Superman movie.
I would not mind doing that because I need to be. I want to know what's going on with these guys.
Well,
and when the series comes on, I want to know. What am I looking at with Booster Gold? Which we went over some of that.
But I think that part of at least for me, part of the idea that I like is that, at least from what I've heard with the Superman movie, and man, we're making this episode so much longer.
That's okay.
This is my last thought, and then we'll get back to it. Is that I think that we're already in a world where all these heroes exist.
In a
and
world.
so it's not like origin story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it's going to be we'll learn more to be able to grow and care more about these characters, obviously, while they're in there. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So Batman Damned, which is absolutely gorgeous. Brian Azzarello. We started, I don't know if I ever gave full credits, but it's Brian Azzarello is the writer of this. I'm sure I did because I talked about Joker, but still, yeah. And then Lee Bermejo did both, like, drew and colored. Like, he did all of it himself. So we get back to Batman and Constantine on top of the church. Remember where we left us? We had the statue of Jesus that had been painted with Joker paint and stuff like that. And so they're trying to figure out, obviously, well, then what is going on? Batman has a flashback again to his childhood, and he's outside Wayne Manor on a horse, like he's dressed kind of like the Lone Ranger. And it shows Thomas leaving as Martha's going after him, and the two of them are obviously having a fight. And while
I did not know that the Waynes had this much problem in their marriage.
No, this is added to for the story.
All right.
I'm assuming. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
I don't think this is canon. I'm pretty sure this is in this world. Like, since it's a Elseworld story, like this is what they're adding to explain certain things about Bruce a little bit differently. So, Martha's like, fine, you coward, walk out. He's like, I don't want you here. Like, they're obviously fighting.
Damn, you coward.
Yeah. And like, as she's leaving, you'll have this house over my dead body. And he's like, we'll see about that. And a sad Bruce is like chasing after him, like, Dad, like, it's a very sad
Shane,
thing.
come back, Shane.
Yeah, and he's like, come back. And he looks back and he just sees his mom walking away. And he kind of blames his mom, obviously, for what's happening then. And so you see Bruce, a mad, angry Bruce, walk up behind his mom with his pop gun.
Oh, my God.
And he, like, points it up behind her, and he pulls the trigger. And the pop from a pop gun will still startle you, obviously. So it does that to his mother, and she drops the picture of, like, the family picture of them that she was looking at. And she's just like, why, Bruce? And she's like, you got to promise me, like, never again. You don't, like, point a gun at any, that breaks down.
Yeah.
And this is, like, it's more... And, like, adds to, like, oh, this is why Batman doesn't use guns here kind of thing.
This is like an old school pop gun, too, because it's got smoke coming out of it. Yeah, where you put the little tabs in it and stuff.
Dude, I mean, it is so...
Did you have the paper tabs, or did you have the little red ring?
Both.
Okay.
I got to experience both. The little, like, the 6 red rings that you sit in, and it would rotate, and then you would do, and the paper would pull out. Yeah,
little paper caps. Yeah.
Here's the thing is, like, I feel... So my brothers are in their early 30s, and I remember, obviously, they remember them because, like, I had them. But I feel like maybe any younger than that might be, like, cap guns. I don't know. I feel like it was cut off. Like, you ever have the feeling like you remember toys from your youth, and you think back about that, and you're like, oh, they should not have sold that to us.
Oh, yeah, jarts. Jarts are mine. You know what?
Just giant yard darts?
Yeah, they're yard darts. They're metal points. And you would throw them up in the sky and wait for them to land.
Fall back down,
and hit Billy in the brain.
Yeah, but there's things, or just like the toxic, like, I'm sure GAC wasn't great for us to, like,
Sure.
eat it, and it's probably poisonous, stuff like that.
Well, I think about Shrinky Dinks also. Do you remember Shrinky Dinks?
Yeah, that you put them in the oven.
You cut them out, you paint them, you do all that stuff, then you put this plastic in the oven and cook it.
Yeah.
There's no way the fumes are great.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
I did a lot of Shrinky Dinks.
Also had creepy crawlers. You remember those?
Yeah, I remember creepy. You made them in the.
It was like the Easy Bake Oven.
Well, it was Vincent Price originally that did the ad for it. Like, it was Vincent Price or Peter Cushing or one of those two did the original thing, and it was like a Easy Bake Oven, but you made little critters.
There was a big fad that lasted
you could eat them,
for
right?
a while of cooking things with light bulbs.
Could you eat them?
No.
Oh.
They did make some you could eat.
Okay.
But originally the creepy crawler ones were just like
they were just little rubbery things. Yeah. They almost reminded me of those.
Friends. Yeah.
They almost reminded me of those that you throw against the wall and watch them fall down.
Yeah, but they didn't stick. And then obviously like the Easy Bake Oven, but then they made like the thing you're talking about where you can make like edibles, but it was all you cook stuff with a light bulb. And like thinking about that now, like none of that can be like.
Hey, here's the deal, man. Those little cakes that came out of that Easy Bake Oven, those are good damn cakes. No, I liked them. I thought they were great.
The one I had, it might have just been the one that my cousin made.
Your cousin probably made it with dirt or something.
Maybe. I only had it. Here's the thing. Can I admit something to you?
Yeah.
This might blow your mind. I always wanted an Easy Bake Oven.
Oh, I don't see any problem with that. Yeah.
No, I've always been big into baking.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like, Mom's not going to let me like use the stove to actually bake something.
Yeah.
So I can pretend to make stuff here.
Well, I was an only child, so I just did whatever the hell I wanted because nobody was there.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just going to turn on the oven and burn the house down real quick.
How many times that happened?
It didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. I'm a good boy.
Man. All right. So then we cut back from Batman trying to shoot his mom with a pop gun to current day. Where,
it does make sense about the guns, though.
Yeah, that does.
You know, like you said.
Back when we were on top of the church, I should have said Constantine asked Batman about, like, hey, you know about this place called the Caravan? And he's like, the club? And he's like, yeah, I think there's somebody there that might be able to help us find some answers.
I'm Batman.
So we go to the Caravan, and we are introduced to, it's another character I know a little bit about.
Just says Blood.
Because Jason Blood is also Etrigan the Demon. He's like possessed, like there's a phrase, I can't remember what it is, but he has to say something and he can turn into a demon.
What's the guy's name?
Jason Blood / Etrigan the Demon. It's a Jack Kirby creation.
Okay.
Etrigan the Demon.
Great. I don't know anything about this character.
So he's like, usually he's this aristocratic guy. I feel like he's just more like.
But then he can say something and turn into a demon?
He says like a cantation, and like the demon like that's inside him kind of takes over.
Got it.
The demon speaks in rhymes, kind of, usually. So what they did here is
Is he a rapping demon?
No, not. I mean, like he speaks in like old type rhyme, like when you would like Middle Earth kind of in a way. I don't know what else to describe.
Throws out sick rhymes.
Yeah. Well, in here he is a rapper though.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. So they do show up, and that's why they're screaming blood, because you're like, what is this? Is this Blade? But no, that's Marvel. And also, they're referring to Jay Blood, who is a rapper here.
Did you like Blade?
Yeah. See, I actually enjoyed the third one. I know a lot of people don't, but I did like Ryan Reynolds in it. I've always liked Ryan Reynolds for a long time.
Yeah.
And Patton Oswalt's in it, and Triple H is in it, oddly enough.
Yeah, that sells it for me. Anything Triple H is in.
I'm not saying that he's good in it or anything. Okay. I'm just saying, like, these are things I remember. And then, obviously, the first one, I remember the first one being good. Like, I thought for, like, a comic book movie, because, you know, sometimes they were cheesy, or you were afraid it was going to be cheesy. Like, the first one, but maybe, like, it felt like, okay, like, that was actually a good, decent action movie and a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But, so Jason Blood / Etrigan the Demon is a rapper here performing. Etrigan.
I think it's Etrigan.
Okay. I think it's G-E-N.
Okay.
I'm sorry, G-A-N. E-T-R-I-G-A-N. Etrigan.
Okay.
Yeah. Batman comes down, and he knows who. Oh, he kind of like the demon kind of, or Jay Blood kind of comes at Batman, and he's like, you know, you shouldn't be here. Like this, you're out of your element. I mean, he's rapping it kind of to him while he's doing it, but he's like, you're out of your element. You don't need to be here. You should probably like kind of go thing.
I'm Jay Blood, and I'm here to say Batman's got to get out of my way.
They're better rhymes than that.
Oh.
But he kind of tells Batman finally gets tired of it and like grabs him. And he's
Batman
like,
does not look good there.
He's like,
he looks like he's unhinged.
Yeah.
Like super unhinged.
And he's like, enough, Joker, a mutual friend has led me to believe you know where he is. And he just kind of tells him, well, he ain't here. Like, you know, and he goes, and don't BS me. You ain't got no friends, just dead, as he's referring to the dead, like dead man, Boston Brand that's there, who's been flying around. And he's like, I know you into breaking rules, but ain't none here, is kind of what he tells him, Batman. And about that time, everybody in the club kind of pulls the gun and points it at Batman.
Wow.
And he's like, just whims. He's still speaking in rhymes here, but he's speaking as a rapper, so that's how they get put, which is, I like that a bit. And he tells him, and he's like, give the word and they'll shoot, right? And he's like, think twice, given our proximity. If they do that, you'll die too. And that's where he tells him, like, no, I won't, because he's an immortal. I don't know if he's like, he can be killed, but I don't think he's, you know, bullets don't do anything.
Yeah, sure.
But then he goes, but they will. And about that time, I think maybe I feel like like mind control as a part of. Or
okay.
Because
Maybe
about that time, everybody points the gun at everybody else.
That
like
makes total
somebody
sense.
else there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he goes, but they will. So Dead Man comes in trying to help with the situation, and he possesses somebody close in the group. And he swings by and he's like, I got your back. And Batman turns and is like, who? And he's like, it's me, the occult conspiracy guy. Like, hey, it's cool. Listen, we got to get out of this cellar. You can't be down here. Like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then that's about that time. He's like, this Satan wannabe will spout some mumbo jumbo, make you never want to. And like, he's like, the demon's just sitting there yelling at him. He's like, get your junky ass above ground before I like they're arguing with one another back and forth there then. And about that time he goes, or what? And he like pulls out like his gun kind of too.
Yeah.
And Batman seeing that is like, put that down, and like elbows him.
Yeah,
and he knocks it.
Smacks it right out of his foot.
And as the gun falls, a boom goes off, but it's not a gunshot. As you can see, like the whole
place
boomed.
is shaking.
And about that time, they go outside to see that the city, like a lot of it, is on fire.
Yeah, it's a funny sound for fire. Boom,
it is.
Boom,
well, like an explosion went off. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just messing.
I missed the joke. So everybody.
No,
runs
it wasn't
out,
a joke. It was just a stupid thing to say.
And Batman kind of runs out, and he's kind of startled by it. And as as he's running to head towards it, his attention is caught by something down an alley, and he turns and looks, and you just see Tearless. I come to see what you now be, is what it says, and it's Enchantress.
Batman's got that ADHD, real bad.
And
sees something in an alley,
and she goes, "Bruce be dead, ever never mourned. My Tearless, tell me, what be left? Does it belong to me?" And Batman's just like, "I know." And she goes, "Hush, no, my secret." And then she just disappears. And he's like cut back into like what's going on here, like in our situation. And about their time, like, come on, Batman, like snap out of it. Like, we got to get in there. Like, there's people in there. It's not safe. And also,
oh my!
And they notice that the bat signal is now up in the sky, and it has a Joker smile over it.
Oh wow!
So they head in to fight, and that's when they notice like there's hands reaching out of the building, and Batman and Dead Man, who is possessing this body still, like go into the building,
try to
help
save
people.
the people that are in there. Yeah.
As they dive in, like he's asking them like, "What's the plan?" And he's like, "It's hot. No worries, I." And about that time, he's like, "Oh." And he realizes, like Dead Man realizes, he's a person, so he's feeling pain again, like and sensation in that moment.
Batman needs to just take all his clothes off again.
He does. He's
He'd
like,
be
I'm
fine.
on fire. He's like, you wouldn't believe how intense this feels. Pain, so feeling. And Batman's just leaving him behind.
Yeah.
Like he's off doing his own thing.
Suck it, Dead Man. And then
he finally like
shoots
gets
off
up
into
to the
sky.
ladder, and he sees like a green cape dart across the room. And he chases after it, and it's the guy from the bridge again who told him what he saw. And he goes, "I see through the bat.
The guy looks like a
heart.
ghoul.
I hear it cry, Judas. I know what you did. I know what you did." And Batman goes, "Do you?" And he like swings at him, and he's like, "Then tell me." And the guy just is like, "Admit it." Like they're fighting back and forth, and Batman tells him to tell me. And about that time, like fiery timber falls down onto Batman, and we're taken back to see Batman at a diner with his mom, and he's like, "Mom, what are we doing here? Or what place is this?" And she's like, "It's a place for you to battle giant aliens." And there's like a centipede game over in the corner, and she gives him some money for him to go play. And Martha's meeting with like a private detective or
Did you ever
PI.
play Centipede?
Yeah. A PI there who's obviously been taking pictures for her, and she's not pleased with whatever she sees.
Oh, she's not
It has
pleased.
to do, I would assume, with her and Thomas.
Who is the guy? I know
he's just
I
so
know it's the
private.
PI, but he looks very familiar.
I have no idea if he's supposed to be somebody else.
It's Jeff the PI.
And he like offers her a cigarette, and she's like, "I don't smoke." And he's like, "I didn't ask if you did. Like, would you like one?"
Yeah.
Like he can tell, like obviously she's very upset.
That is
by,
beautiful. That flame to the cigarette
all of it.
panel.
No, it's
I mean, that's amazing.
fantastic art. The more I read,
Fire
this,
is so hard.
Like at first,
to draw.
I don't want to put like at first. Sometimes with like the ultra realistic stuff, I know I'm weird, but I like my comics to look like comics
Sure.
at times. But
Sure.
I'm not a knock against this at all.
Oh no, it still looks like a comic. I mean, it is
It
ultra
is,
real,
it is,
but it's still
but
comic-y.
I
at the same
found
time.
it. The more I read it, the more I could feel myself kind of like I enjoyed it more, and I got lost in like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like that's so. it definitely grew on me. And by the time I got done with it, because I might be getting part of this story wrong to people, and I'm trying to do the best I can with what I got. And I might be misjudging on stuff, and I apologize about that. But the art was amazing throughout the whole thing.
Oh, the art's beautiful.
Like, absolutely gorgeous. Not to take away. I think it was a decent story still. It's a good book that I think was just kind of, or a decent book. It was a good book that is just.
It's overshadowed by the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, like if you like, I think that they could have done I think that there was maybe going to be a follow up to this, and then maybe there's not.
Okay.
Because of everything, I don't know. Anyway, we flash back to current day, where the demon is pulling Batman out of the fiery rubble. The stuff that like crashed down on top of him. Yeah. And he like drags him out of the building because essentially he doesn't have any like beef with him. He was just like I should go ahead and like take care of you, and he's like he's all yours, and he just leaves him there for Constantine as he walks away. And Constantine's back now, and then he goes, "May I remind you, up in the sky, it's a bird." It's a pain is what it says on the next about the Joker smile. And it looks like Joker's back then with all the goons here. And
we get all the guys that are dressed like clowns.
They are, but like demonic clowns kind of.
Yeah.
And so they're just like shooting down at the cars below them there, just causing all sorts of havoc.
They're not shooting handguns, they're shooting machine guns.
Like Tommy guns and stuff like that. And about that time you see like a battering like hit one kind of in the eye, and like Batman slowly taking out all the henchmen is Commissioner Gordon, and the cops are kind of hiding behind their cars there. And Batman just comes down and like one by one just takes out each goon until he's hit in the back of the head with a bat.
With a bat.
By the Joker, right?
Oh no, it's not the Joker, because that's what you said. You're trying to do a misdirect.
I was trying to do a misdirect.
It's Lady Joker?
It's Harley Quinn.
Oh.
So she's dressed up like Joker then.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so she's like, beat on the bat,
beat
on the bat, beat on the bat. And he's like, Harley.
That's like
she goes with the baseball.
It's like the Ramones song.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And she goes to swing again, and Batman catches it and just kind of like gives her a nice little punch in the chest. And she goes, I hate you. As she goes and like gives him a nice solid right hook, as you can see there, to his jaw. And Batman ducks another one and kind of like backhands her back again. And as she does that, oh man, this was kind of, as she does that, he goes to like get ready to defend himself again, and Harley's staring at him crying. Does that oddly look like Lady Gaga to you?
It does, yeah.
Here's the thing. This was in 2018.
Yeah.
I don't think they had announced Lady Gaga was playing her yet. So that's just kind of, I found that kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she goes, hit me again, please. Keep hitting me. I don't want to live. Like, I can't without him. And like Batman's just kind of like taken aback by this thing.
Right.
And he's like, Harley, it's over. And she goes, it is? ? And about that time, she injects something into his neck that we don't know exactly what is. And he's like, no. And she goes, not, like, it's not over.
Yeah, sure.
And she's yelling in his face just like, no, like, that's all that ever comes out of you, is what she tells him. And she goes, well, now, no more no's. No means yes. He would say when he needed no to be yes, which is kind of about the Joker, but still. Yeah. And she goes, let me unstrap you. It's going to be a bumpy ride. You killed him, so you need to die. A little death to haunt you. And she is honestly like straddling him, like she's about to actually assault him. And as you notice, that's a nice little scar there on her chest. But about that time, Batman's throat goes up and he starts to choke Harley. And she's like, obviously, like, she can't breathe. And he steps up off the ground and he carries her over to the bat signal as he's sitting there choking her still. And like we get narration over it of from Constantine, but Batman just keeps choking as Harley's like trying to fight away from this. And you kind of almost see, I feel like it's there is another Killing Joke reference later on, but this for some reason we need to do the Killing Joke at some point in time too.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the end with the rain at the bottom there too.
Yeah.
But you see how in the shadows you see hands around his feet there, when the reflection of the water as he's choking Harley, and then we get to the last panel, and you see that it's Enchantress underneath, like it with Batman, and
She's
they're
like
choking out Harley.
She's doing she's got a spell on him.
Well, it could be. Or
No, that's what it is. She's got a spell on
okay.
him. Yeah, definitely.
As he chokes out Harley, and that ends issue 2. We pick up issue 3, which is our final part of the story here, with a nice little Joker cover before we see bones in the
skeleton.
ground. Be in control. Be in control is how it starts off there. But again, there's a lot of great Constantine narration. I'm just trying to like weave through the story as best I can, and it does add depths and layers to it, and add some points. But we then see that the bones, as we zoom in, there's like a bat, and the bat opens up, and it turns into a heart. But also, do you see how for the panels, they've turned into like the pulses again, like we've started
EKG
every
thing.
issue
Yeah,
with,
yeah, sure.
which I thought was really cool too. And then we see Batman, who looks to be in a coffin. I love the up close picture of his eye. It's just kind of like really pretty. But he awakes there in a coffin, and about that time, like he's desperately trying to kick and get out of this coffin because he's stuck down under, like he's buried alive. And as he's like trying to kick there and get out, he's finally able to get some help as these tree branches and roots start coming through and cracking open at the coffin and bring it up to the surface. And as it's up to the surface, we see that Swamp Thing has saved Batman from being buried alive.
That I did not expect.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Swamp Thing to show up.
So, as he's there, and a gorgeous looking Swamp Thing too. And as he's there,
Swamp Thing, DC, Man Thing is Marvel?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Which we will do. They're also making, I think they're still, well, he announced it at some point in time. They're doing a Swamp Thing series too.
Good.
Somebody
needs to do a good one.
It's going to be based off Alan Moore's run on
Have Adrian Barbeau in this one also?
I have no clue.
Have you seen the original one?
No. Heather Locklear was in one of them, wasn't she?
Oh, is it Heather Locklear? I thought it was Adrian Barbeau for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it was Heather Locklear. You're probably
Batman
right.
Comes out and he's like, "You saved me," and Swamp Thing is like, "Your life is not what is at stake. Dark Knight forces both sides lay claim," and then we see that John Constantine's back, and he has, I don't know if that's Robin's mask. I don't know if that's Harley's mask.
It's just a domino mask.
It's
of
a
some
domino
kind.
mask he's wearing. It could just be that. But
I thought maybe he was black in his eyes. I thought maybe he was black in his eyes like Batman or something.
Maybe just trying to blend
But it's
in.
a mask.
But Constantine tells him, like, "Hey, mind your own business, old chum. Seems to be a fungus among us," is what he tells him. And Swamp Thing comes up to Constantine, and he's like, "Knight." That's what he calls Batman, is Knight, like Dark Knight.
Sure.
"Knight, this man never means well." And Constantine goes, what is it I mean then? And he tells him, "To amuse yourself." And Constantine's like, "Not such a bad way to go through life, is it?" And Swamp Thing tells him, "Those that laugh through it seldom die with a smile." And so he's like, oh, piss off, confuse us, is what he tells him, like speaking in the rhymes like
Instead
that.
of Confucius.
And Batman's like, "No, I had just about enough of your snark, Constantine." And he's like, "Okay, come on. Even after I snatched the belt that Miss Quinn took off your waist before you and she, fancy a cigarette," is what he tells him. So we're assuming Batman killed Harley Quinn then here.
Yeah.
Obviously, is before
That's what it
whatever
seemed
happened.
like, yeah.
Yeah. And so Swamp Thing tells him, "Knight, don't trust this man. He is not your friend." And Constantine's like, "No, I'm more than your friend. I'm the best chance you've got." And Swamp Thing tells him, "I've heard that before." Like they're arguing back and forth. Like Swamp Thing's telling him not to trust him. And we see feet kind of walk up behind them there. And as that happens, one of the angels kind of comes to life and goes to attack Constantine as Swamp Thing saves him. And we're like, oh, like what are these angels, as we can tell by the speech bubbles, are being taken over by Enchantress.
Okay.
And she's like, "Fool, monster. Like, she's yelling at them all. She's sending, like, these angels after them.
Yeah.
And Batman's trying to fight them off.
Well, they're the angel statues that were in the graveyard, right?
They are.
Okay.
And, like, one of them flies at Batman and, like, scratches his face.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, mine, promise. And, like, sworn, what be over, be done. And Batman's like, be done? Never. And Enchantress goes, Tearless, why you hate life so? And he's like, Batman, I hate. And about that time, Swamp Thing's, like, roots, I guess, come down and smash the statue. And he's like, no, don't listen to her. Enchantments, like, is what he's telling her. And then you see the speech bubble still. Why can't life win? Be over, be still, be mine. I be fate written, like die cast. Why you no remember? Like, she's like trying, like, whatever from his youth.
Right.
So he's like, what does this have to do with me? Like, who are you? He's like trying to figure all this out.
I'm Batman.
And she tells him, like, I be first kiss. I be first love. I be first blood. You be mine. I be you. Secrets. And you see her face up close, though.
I'm ready for her to die.
She is not very pretty, is she?
No, I just don't.
And about that time also, like,
I don't
Batman
like the way she speaks.
is like a no, and he falls back, like,
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
But do you see his face? He's looking like he's, like, just, like,
His face is really messed up.
he is. He's,
Yeah.
like, kind of deteriorating himself in a way. And about that time, it's like, Swamp Thing smashes another statue down then to get it again. And they're like, it's over kind of thing. And Constantine goes, you hurt her feelings. And Batman's like, shut up, Constantine. Like, they're kind of arguing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And Swamp Thing enjoys that. But he's like, Constantine is right. Though humanity needs fear, I wonder what will it make of it. And Batman tells him, like, I'm tired. I need answers. And Constantine tells him, pity, the one person can supply him is dead. Good thing the line between life and death is just a hurdle, though. You want to see him? And then we get a cut back to that night in Crime Alley. They've just gone and seen the Mask of Zorro, and they're out, and they're like, Batman's, like, pretending to sword fight young Bruce Wayne, and Thomas goes, the kid's got an imagination on him. Wonder where he gets it. And Martha goes, not from you. Like, they're bickering back and forth.
Jeez.
And he's like, Martha, let's not let it ruin, like, the evening. And about that time, we see
Don't let it ruin
Bruce,
our wonderful Zorro evening.
Bruce, be time, your time. And Bruce looks down the alley and he's like, time for what? And Enchantress goes, for no fear, forever.
Wow.
And so Batman takes off, as my book drops, Batman takes off running after her, as you see there.
Yeah.
And, like,
Through the fog and the haze
Thomas
and
is
all
like,
that stuff. Yeah.
where is he going? Like, get back here. And, like, Bruce, what are you doing? And he chases after Enchantress.
This is not the origin story I remember.
No, and he chases after Enchantress into the fog, as we then cut back to normal time, where now Constantine has taken Batman to see Zatanna. And so they're there around, and they're basically asking Zatanna, like, for her help to talk to somebody who is dead. And so what they're able to do and what they're going to use her for is, where is it at? It's there's only one person who can tell us the truth. I'm trying to see where it's at. Sorry, but they summon, to give a little bit more backstory. I know it's here. Where is he talking about it? Anyway, I know this is great for it, but they go to get her to commune with the spirit that'll able to give them answers. And what she's able to do, like, it takes a lot out of her, and she doesn't want to, but she's able to contact and conjure the spirit. And what appears in the chair that they're waiting, the empty chair there for them, is young Bruce.
So I know that Zatanna, I say it right?
Yeah.
She's like a magician.
Yeah, but she can also communicate with the dead.
What is her deal? Like,
she has magic
where'd
powers.
she come from? Where did she go? Where did
she was taught she was taught by her father, I think.
Okay.
But it's like magical powers kind of stuff.
She's Doctor Strange, but more of a magician
I don't know
on
enough
stage
to be like, yeah.
kind of thing.
Like, her whole thing is to be like, oh yeah, magic. Like, haha, it's not really a thing. But, like, She is.
So it's a cover-up. I
Yeah.
got you. Okay.
But
All right, that makes sense.
a young Bruce Wayne appears.
A ghostly Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And he's obviously taken aback as he just kind of like collapses there. And we're taken back to Crime Alley. Batman and Constantine are. As we see then that Enchantress is there. Oh, sorry. That Enchantress is there with a dead Bruce and a dead Thomas and a dead Martha. Because it seems like this, as Enchantress says, Bruce be mine, Constantine, mine. Deal be made, not to be broken. Tearless for fearless. And like Batman's grieving over seeing his parents again. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, be sorry. He's like, what can I do to change? And you see Enchantress say, you be fearless. You pay with tears. Deal was struck. No change. We dance. And like a rat bites her. And she like lets go of Bruce. And about that time, Constantine shoots and Enchantress there as she falls back. And we see, and Constantine goes, go dance with yourself, as she like kind of collapses. And they look down and Batman goes, I'm dead. And Constantine goes, you might want to pinch yourself, make sure. And he's like, but that's my body. And he's like, that's your past. Time for you to leave it behind. That's very hard to do. So maybe you died in the alley. Maybe this is hell. If this is hell, like Batman's like, if this is hell, it's one of my own choosing then. Like, you know. And he's like, Constantine looks at him. He's like, some ego you got then, man. Like, you know. And Batman goes, or Constantine asks him, where are you headed? And Batman says, where I should have gone long ago. And we see him show up at the Gotham morgue. And Batman says, before I let you lead me anywhere but here. And Constantine says, kept you away as long as I could. This is where I take my leave, though. And Batman goes, Constantine? And Constantine says, now, we're not much for goodbyes, either one of us. And do take care what you say to this, what you say to its almighty self. It says, tends to take things quite literally, it does. And he walks in there, and as he walks, we see the same guy that's been, telling him he knew what he did. The guy, it's the Spectre, who is, remember, he was the past judgment over everything. Like, that's what he did in Kingdom Come. And so, like, Batman walks to him, and Spectre says, Batman, you fought hell for your soul, and now you stand before me in judgment. You know what you did. And Batman says, I know. He goes, what I didn't do. And so we see Batman and Joker fighting on the bridge. And we see that Joker has gone to stab like Batman, and Batman kind of like punches him. He goes, I didn't hold back because I knew your wounds were fatal. I guess he's talking to Joker from a knife. A knife. Like when that maniac fell, I reacted like I always do, even faced with death. Yes, but then, and it shows him like reach his hand out for Joker. And he goes, I was afraid of what he'd do when I was gone. And so he clenches his fist, like taking the hand away to save Joker.
Yeah, sure.
And then we see Spectre go, you must pay for your crime. And he's like, aren't you being a little harsh? And he's like, harsher than you? Is what Spectre tells Batman. And he goes, you were judged as you judge others. And Batman opens and looks at the underneath the sheet and puts it back down and goes, I wish he were still alive. And about that time, we get a swoosh into the morgue door, and it slams shut. We go back.
I bet he does wish he was still alive because he's like the other half of that coin, I mean, he's the other side. He goes
back to the bridge, and it says there, and here we are, back where we started, a fall towards the ending of our story as something splash and hits. And it says, or perhaps, as we see the figure crawl out of the water, it's just the start of another one, because what crawls out from the river is Joker. And the maniacal look on his face.
He looks insane.
And it just ends with the
the
like
beep,
bleeps
beep,
turning into ha 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 ha. as they disappear, and
Oh,
that
that's
is the end of Batman Damned.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
Beautiful.
comic.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple things about it that were I didn't know if like Batman was just dead the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't know like he died like there's just some things that
Right.
you know, I tried to explain it the best I could. But there's a lot there to kind of be like, or did he honestly like just trade his life there then for
Yeah.
Joker's? The thought is, I heard somebody explain, and I wish I could give them credit for this, whoever it was, but I found it interesting, was that Joker has said before, maybe it was Comics Explained, but Joker had said before of like how like he's in it for the cat and mouse game
Right.
of just him and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So if Batman knew he was going to die too up there on that bridge,
Yeah.
if he just let him, like he saves Joker, and if he dies, then Joker has nothing to be the Joker for.
Sure.
And like the thought is he just like, he might like, you know, kill himself eventually because he has nothing to live for. But without that, you know, without that other half of the coin, like what is the Joker?
Right.
But by Batman purposely just being like, nope, I'm going to let you die. That was him kind of like breaking every, like, you know, the code of art he ever went in a way. And so him wishing him back was him literally switching. And I don't know. It was very interesting. I thought it was a good book.
Zorro wouldn't have done that.
It was gorgeous looking.
Yeah,
absolutely
it is gorgeous.
amazing art.
Beautiful.
And that was Batman Damned.
Good job. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So don't know what we're going to do next week, but it will be something good because we always do good things.
Sure.
Or at least something entertaining. But
There is a difference.
as always, want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure to check out Rogue Media Network and the Rogue Media Network family of stations.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Or, sorry, family of podcasts, not stations. We're not radio stations, but still.
I'm Batman.
And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly God.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.